Good afternoon, everybody. This is DIY Dave. Today we're going to do a little bit of key programming. Yes, it's another key programming video. This time we're going to be using the ThinkDiag to program a key for the 2015 Lexus ES350. So hope you'll join us. Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is DIY Dave, and yes, this is a video about using the ThinkDiag DIY scan tool to program an additional SmartKey for my Lexus ES350. I'm going to give you a fair warning, this is one of the stranger videos I've put together because it wasn't as smooth as I thought it would be. From what I could tell, the research I had done before I started the video, I thought it would be fairly straightforward, but when I got down to it, it didn't work, at least not initially. Now, the shortcut to the suspense is, yes, we did get it programmed. The ThinkDiag definitely did program another key for my car. So I have no reason to think anybody else couldn't do the same thing. But I got so frustrated in the course of the video that I lost a little bit of my focus on narrating as I was going along. So I even got frustrated at one point. I went back to my AP200 and I knew it wasn't going to work, and sure enough it didn't. Had a screen record of that, so I'm not going to include that in the video because I don't recommend that tool anyway for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run the video that I edited. I'm going to put together the screen recording and my narration as I was going along the way, but then I'm going to try to add a little voiceover to let you know exactly when the key got programmed, because the biggest problem was the ThinkDiag tool, once it actually programmed the key, it didn't give me any feedback. It just kind of sat there and continued spinning on me, and I didn't know it was programmed until I hit the button and realized, wait a minute, this thing actually took, and I had to prove it to myself. And you'll see what I'm going to do is when I let the regular video run, I'll stop and try to highlight the point when I recognized when the key had actually been programmed. So it's a little bit awkward. It's not the cleanest video I've ever done, so I appreciate your patience. I do hope that you'll hit the like button, enjoy the video, and on with the programming. Well, good afternoon, folks. Thanks for joining us for the DIY video again. One of the more popular videos I've done on my channel is one on programming for additional car keys for a Toyota Corolla. I also tried to do one for the ES350 using the old AP200. And I have come across the need to program another key for my ES350, 2015 ES350. And I ordered a new remote from carandtruckremotes.com. They don't sponsor me or pay me anything to endorse them. I bought some spares, some extra keys from them, and they've had really good service and good quality products. I bought this refurbished Lexus remote, and I'm going to try to program that using the ThinkDiag. The ThinkDiag is one of the nicer DIY tools. It's not a full-fledged scanner, but it does have some bidirectional capabilities, and I do believe that it has key programming capability through the immobilizer. Now, when you buy a ThinkDiag, you get one manufacturer's maintenance or diagnostic software for a year, and you can buy additional modules like the immobilizer or tire pressure reset for an additional amount each individually. However, what they are running right now is if you're willing to pay a one-time fee, you get everything, all their diagnostic and maintenance modules for all cars for a one-time fee of $129. And I thought that was a pretty good deal. Actually, for me, it was $99 because I had already bought one module for the Toyota Lexus combination, and I thought for a year that would be worthwhile. And we'll see what kind of a promotion they offer a year from now. So that includes the immobilizer, and that's what we're going to use to program the key. I've already loaded the ThinkDiag client software on my Android phone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this thing, this phone has a built-in screen recorder. So I'm going to have the screen recorder running on it and hopefully sync up the video so that you'll see it. I'm going to try to put it right about here in the video so you can see what the phone does as I'm programming the programming the key, and see if it works. So let's go ahead and get started. I will go ahead and start the screen recorder. Okay, so now I've started the screen recorder, and now we're going to start the ThinkDiag tool. So basically what you'll be seeing me and the phone is me looking at my phone as I do this. So there's the main menu with the all system diagnostic and maintenance and OBD functions. All we're doing right here is the maintenance functions. So we'll go in here to repair and maintenance and the immobilizer, and I've already downloaded that into this car, or into this phone. I've got my the Bluetooth module plugged into the DLC port, the data link connector down here, so it's connecting and talking to it. Give it just a few minutes here. We're going to do this live. On the way, I'm going to try to avoid doing any edits so you get a good, legit sense of how this really goes. So if I screw up, you're going to see it live. I'll try not to edit it unless it just makes the video unwatchable. Disclaimer about warranties and problems. You're on your own. So I'm going to scroll down here and pick Lexus. And the ignition, I've already got the power on. We're going to do immobilize your key programming. I believe this is entry and start for SmartKey programming. Oh, no, it's not. It's going to be main body. Fair warning, this is the wrong part of the thing to go into. It really was SmartKey. But we're doing this live, and you were warned. Wireless code registration. Okay, I know I said I wouldn't edit the live video off of the screen capture, the screen recorder, but I do chase a rabbit here for about a minute on wireless code registration, and it is absolutely irrelevant. So there's no point in wasting everyone's time and being potentially confusing by showing it. So we're just going to skip past that part. Didn't like that. Key code registration. I think I may have hit the wrong one before. So we're in key code registration. Power engine switch is on. Turn off any cell phone near the driver's seat. Well, I'm using a cell phone to program it, so I don't really have much of a choice there. We'll click OK. Number available room for new codes is 5. Touch the ignition switch with the key to be registered. Okay, so we're going to go down here. This is my new remote. Touch the ignition switch with the key to be registered. So emblem side out. I repeated this same sequence 2 more times and it failed both times, timing out because it did not see the key that I wanted to program, even though I was touching the ignition switch. But what I realized was that I had to stop, regroup, and try to figure out what I was doing wrong. What I did realize is that I had misread the directions. The directions had to have the ignition on, but I turned the engine on with it. It wanted the ignition on, but the engine not running. That's where I think I made my mistake. Now my frustration level is getting really high and I'm getting ready to go through this process again. But notice very carefully that as I get ready to program the key again, after I put the key up by the ignition switch, you will hear a beep. Listen carefully because it's very faint in the audio. Here it comes. Did you hear it? It was very faint and it was in the background of the video, but it was a very subtle beep, but it's a very important beep. That indicated that the ECU recognized the new key I was trying to program, even though ThinkDiag did not give me any response, just kept sitting there spinning at me. and at this point I still didn't know that the new key had been programmed already. I think it's reasonable to conclude that there's a problem with the ThinkDiag software in the feedback it gets from the car's computer, because it obviously, in retrospect, programmed the new key. It just didn't give me any message. I'm still sitting here waiting for it to give me a response to what I thought was an ongoing programming effort, not realizing it had already finished. So out of what I thought was a failed previous attempt, I'm going to make another attempt to program the keys. But here's where an important clue shows up that led me to suspect something was different. Notice that now, right here, the number of spaces available for new codes was now 4. It was 5 before. That led me to believe that something was going on. I just wasn't sure what. Now, honestly, at this point in the video, I was about ready to give up because I didn't think anything was working. So as soon as I got past this point, I finally gave up on this session and shut down the ThinkDiag, thinking the video wasn't even going to be a success. It wasn't until the next section that I'm going to get ready to post that I realized that I tested the key accidentally and realized the car was working. Now right here, I'm starting the car with the known good working original key. At this point, to make sure the phone wasn't interfering with anything, I disconnected the ThinkDiag and decided to test my other key.
Oh my gosh, it worked and I didn't even know it. It never even gave me a signal that it worked. The ThinkDiag actually did it. It beeped and I never got a signal from the ThinkDiag that it affirmatively did it. It actually did it. I'm going to have to dissect the video and figure out how, but it looks like it worked. Let me do a little post-mortem. Let me look at the video. And look at the screen capture on the phone and see if I can figure out when it actually worked, but it appears to have worked. Well, folks, it worked. I am now using the new key that I programmed, and it programmed with the ThinkDiag. But this time, at one point in the process, with the power on but the engine off, when it told me to put a new key to be registered up to the start-stop button, the engine start-stop button, I heard a beep and it registered it. And now the actual original key is sitting in my workbench in the garage. It's 10 feet away. So clearly this key is now programmed, and I did it with the ThinkDiag. The instructions in the ThinkDiag, I will be very plain with you, are not, they're clear right up until the point that it tells you that it appears the ignition has to be on, the power to the vehicle has to be on, but the engine not started, because that was, I think, by total accident how I got it programmed. I was following what I thought were the instructions on the software, as you can tell on the video, and at one point it actually programmed it, but there was never an affirmative message back from the ThinkDiag that said, your key is programmed, you're good to go, have a nice life. So, what's the takeaway from all this? Programming keys is still not consistent. Some of these tools can do it, some of them claim they can do it, but really can't. The AP200 still can't program a key for this car, but I have used it to program a key for a Toyota Corolla. So I wish, one of the things on one of the other videos I did for key programming, I get a lot of questions. Will this work for car X? I don't know. I wish I did. I love to try to answer as many of you as I can, but the security involved in getting into the ECU and the immobilizer to program keys into the ECU It requires some magic to get into. There's usually some sort of an internal pin that the car has at the time it's manufactured. The software in the tool has to be able to get to it and read it. Not every car allows every other tool that's not an official corporate tool to read it. Some of the really high dollar scan tools do have that stuff embedded, and and for whatever reason, the AP200 on a Lexus ES350 doesn't work, but the ThinkDiag does, even though it doesn't look like it does. If you hear it beep, somehow it finally did it. So how it did it, I don't know. I wish I could tell you. I'm going to study this a little bit more, and I may put a little bit more information at the front of the video as kind of a prelude of how this video worked out. So again, if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel. When you like a video, it gives the YouTube algorithm some feedback that says, hey, this guy creates content that people like. Don't ever claim that it's the most polished that you'll ever see, but we try to help as best we can when we share some information, help people save a little bit of money. The objective here is to avoid having to go to the dealership and spend several $100s potentially for a full key programming. That's going to be all for now. We will see you soon, and thanks for watching. Have a blessed day, and if it's worth doing at all, it's worth doing yourself. Bye-bye, everybody.